Have you ever been presented with an opportunity to work an event and you really weren't just sure exactly what you should be looking at to know if it's going to be a good event or a bad event? Today, Ken Bohm, the owner of Hippie Gourmet Grilled Cheese Food Company, he and I are going to be talking about an opportunity he was presented with, and I'll give him my thoughts on if it's a good opportunity or a not so good opportunity. Welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I am a food truck business coach, author of 5 food truck vending books, including Food Truck 101 and Food Truck 201. This podcast is all about helping you start and grow your food truck business.
Wow, this house is cute. But can I really get in the game in this economy? I do have savings, and I am responsible-ish. I should bury it. I'm being wild. But what if I'm not being wild, though? Could I actually score a...
Kick off your home buying journey with Zillow's new buyability tool. It makes it easy to find out what you can afford, so you can get off the bench and onto the playing field with confidence. Check your buyability only on Zillow.
Let's talk about the baseball team just really quickly. So what's going on
Sure.
with that?
So quick question. Tell me what you think. We got offered residency at a local baseball park. It's a minor league team here in my area around the suburbs of Chicago. 50 games. We're in all 50 games. We are in the first base line with 3 other trucks. So 3 trucks there, including us. There's a pizza and a barbecue and us. We get an 8x12 billboard out in center field, plus mentions and all the social networking marketing that this baseball team does. And it's pretty popular locally. They do fireworks every Thursday night. They don't sell their own food. They do sell their own drinks. So we would not be selling drinks, just cheeses, chips and pickles. We do not handle any money. What would happen is they have like an area where they put the 3 trucks. They come up, they order from us. In my Square machine, I would have to figure a way to, give them a ticket, I guess, with a price, but without sales tax. The baseball team is handling the sales tax. So they would come up, order, we give them the ticket, they go pay for it. The team handles the sales tax. They then pay us, the team does, the baseball team, at the end of every week. To get in on that action is $8,000 to $12,000, depending on what type of sponsorship you want. 8,000 being, the lowest. You still get the billboard and the mentions and all that, right, plus 20%.
What's the attendance?
Attendance, it's probably a little less. Probably right around 800 to 900 a game, roughly. Not a whole lot of people, not thousands, but probably somewhere around 800 to 900. The gentleman said that last year, because we asked him, you don't have to mention any names, but what did your average fella do last year when they did this? And he said it averaged between 55 and 75,000.
That they
for the food truck. Yeah.
I can see that because I'm looking at the low end on the numbers. If you do have 50 games, okay, because there's always a potential for rainouts and that kind of thing. But let's say it's good weather, all 50 games, and low end on the attendance, about 800 people. That's 40,000 people that you're having the opportunity to sample your food, to get your name out in front of. So part of being there is going to be marketing, because
Absolutely.
That billboard is going to be there all season, right? Is the stadium used for anything else?
Sometimes they used to be affiliated with I think it was the Florida Marlins, actually.
Okay.
But I don't know that much about baseball, but I guess Major League Baseball dropped a bunch of teams or sold some stuff. And now there's a bunch of what used to be farm teams that are all independent. So they're trying to get in. A few years ago, Wilco, if you're familiar with that band, they played there. It was a huge deal. They're trying to get festivals in there. They're trying to do that stuff, but they're still kind of new at it, and this is the second year that they'd be doing food trucks. So yeah, they are trying to get in parties and other type festival things, and we would be included on that too. And we would have the residency. Say they have Thursday, Friday, Saturday games where they're all 3 days. The guy said last year he had a taco guy there, and the guy would do the resident, be there for all the games. When he wasn't there, he got so many referrals like you said, the marketing.
Right.
He lived basically the rest of the year off of his referrals, which I think is a good idea too, because we
Yes.
bought our second truck that we're going to be working on here after Christmas. We're going to start building that. So we have this truck, which I could park there, take our second truck and go do other gigs. You know what I mean? And just keep the business coming in. I'm still new at this, and those numbers kind of freak me out.
Right.
Holy crap! I'm going to give you $8,000 plus 20%. I've never heard like I'm used to 10%. You know what I mean? I'm not used to those big festival-y type numbers. I just kind of, like I said, pick your brain. What do you think?
For me, it always comes down to the math because I don't make any decision unless I run every single number I can think of. And sometimes I run numbers that nobody else would even consider. So what I'm looking at is let's go on the high end this time, $12,000, 50 days. That's $240 a day that if you want to look at the billboard is out there, there's going to be 800 people seeing that billboard, guaranteed, plus whatever other events they put on that have nothing to do with baseball, still seeing your banner that's out in the center field. The 800 is a little low. That's where it gets a little dicey for me. But a baseball game is typically 2.5, 3 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to eat because you're sitting, you're bored, you're watching the game. You're going to eat the thing.
Yeah, it's a baseball game.
Exactly. You go there to eat. You're going to drink beer. When I did sporting events, I modified my menu to make it more sport-like. So I sold peanuts, which I never sold at all. I just get the big bags of peanuts and sell those. I did hot dogs, but I thinned down the menu choices on the hot dogs so I could put them out quickly.
Yeah.
Because people aren't coming there to relax. They're coming there to watch a game. So when they, get in line, they want to not miss any of the action. They don't want to miss the dude hitting a home run or whatever.
Yep, that's what the gentleman asked too. He goes, "So how many people do you have on your truck?" And I said, "Well, if we're busy, we're hopping 4 people. Me taking orders, sandwich, boom, cook, out the door, 4 positions. But if we're doing tickets and we're not taking cash, I could probably do that in 3. And that was one of his complaints about the barbecue guy who was doing the scoop and serve. He said it was good. He thought it was a little overpriced, but his lines were too long. He said they were waiting too long for their food. And I'm thinking, this
Why?
guy's just scooping.
Yeah.
Right. I go, well, the only thing, I could say about that, and I know the food truck that it is, and it's good food, is that maybe management was trying to cheap out on the staff a little bit. And I hate using those words like cheap out. It's just him by himself trying to do all this. I said if it's all pre-made and it's scoop and serve, he should probably have another person on that truck. If not, that's why your line was so long. I said our average turnaround time is 4 to 5 minutes on a sandwich. Big orders, you give us 5 or 6 sandwiches, it's going to take us 10 minutes. It just is, because that griddle, the heat's gonna drop just the way it is. He goes, "Oh, that's fine." So to your point, yeah, you're right. People don't want to wait in line.
No, they don't. The thing about the barbecue, that is a recognizable product, and people have their preconceived notion of it's probably going to be good, it's probably going to taste good. So the line may have been long just because of what he was selling, not necessarily that he was moving slow.
I never thought of that.
For example, there's a barbecue place here that we do a food truck Friday once a month, and he'll have, on average, if it's really, really busy, he'll have usually the shortest line out of all the other food trucks. But that's because the other food trucks, they're slow at order taking, they're slow at producing the food. So their lines end up being, 20, 25 people deep, whereas his stays usually around 10 to 15 at the most. And you are in his line really maybe 10 minutes at most. And it's once you get the order placed, you get the food in about 3 because they are moving the food out. I can see.
Hard to say with that one.
Yeah, it is hard to say. Like I said, it could be just because of the food, and that's what people went to.
Yeah.
I think you would be busy, and if you're able to put the food out quick enough, then you shouldn't have any issues at all. Would I do it? I'm kind of on the fence. Even at $8,000, I would probably be more willing to do it than I would at the 12,000 level. So what's the
especially
difference?
me, because I'm brand new.
Yeah, what's the difference to get $4,000 more?
It has to do with marketing. The meeting that we had last week, was like just a preliminary sniffing around type meeting. So, I have a bunch of questions like that. Specific. Can I see last year's attendance?
Right.
We have probably, 7 to 9 other questions that we got to get emailed over to get more information. But, just as an overview, that's kind of, the nuts and bolts.
Yeah, because at the $8,000 level, it's 160 a day. That's much more palatable number. Yeah, even if you did the lowest numbers, and he's being honest, I think it's worth it at 8,000.
Yeah, that's what my business partner had said too. We just kind of again preliminary looked at it, and he's like, yeah, because I mean the exposure
Yes.
alone, that, and we'll have the second truck,
Oh, that's
so
true. Yeah.
we'll be ready for bookings and things like that. And then we've got into fall our stand back at the pumpkin farm, which we did nutso gangbusters there every weekend. Crazy good every weekend there. And then we've got that flea market first weekend of every month. That's at least 4,000 people in 2 days. So, we're trying to get, our next year set up now.
I want to do one more number where I just thought about a different way of looking at it.
Because to my thinking too, and again, correct me if I'm wrong while you're figuring out a number. To my way of thinking, if we can get solid big gigs close, because the ball field's literally 20 minutes from our shop. Pumpkin Farm's half an hour from the shop. The big flea market, literally 5 minutes from the shop. That saves wear and tear on the truck. It saves on gas. It saves, we get there, we're close, we do our gigs, make our money, and get out instead of around the Chicagoland area, there's food trucks that'll travel, an hour and a half to a gig for 2 hours, make $1,500, and then travel 2 hours back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And those are fine. It's money's money. But with me, we're trying to peg the bigger fish and have longer residencies closer
Right.
to where our headquarters is. Color me selfish, but
Right.
I think if we could swing that would be optimal.
What I was just looking at was you said that the average truck that they paid last year was between 50 and 75,000, right?
Correct.
Okay, so if you look at the 50,000 mark over 50 days, that means they were averaging $1,000 a day in sales, which is an easy number. If you figure that all three trucks were doing that, that means they're averaging $3,000 worth of food sales to 800 people, and that number makes sense. It's probably really on the low side.
It could be.
If they're really truly bringing in 800 people, a quarter of those should be eating. So
Yeah.
that would be 200 people eating. And if the 200 people are producing, again, on the low side, $3,000 for, 1,000 for each truck, that means the average check is $15. I mean, that makes sense for a food truck.
It makes sense for our food truck,
Well, not being able to sell drinks too.
Right. And what I was thinking of doing, and the guy was, he goes, you can sell whatever you want. We're not going to, tell you what you can and can't sell. Can't sell drinks. So what I was thinking was keep my prices the same, but eliminate the chips and use the chips as an add-on. With your order, you get sandwich and a pickle. You want to add chips, it's $3, or I haven't figured that
Right.
number.
Yeah.
But take something away, keep the chips on the truck, but use them as something to add on.
Exactly. You'll probably have some people that'll just come up and grab a bag of chips to eat anyway.
Yeah, and as long as the margin's there, that's fine. We'll sell chips all day too.
Yeah, exactly.
We're also looking at selling T-shirts. We had some T-shirts printed up. They're pretty cool. And we asked them, if we want to sell shirts, sell merchandise, is that included in not only the net, or is that, something you want to take 20% of? And the guy goes, no one's ever asked us that. Right. So he's got to get back with that too. So there's still variables in there.
The numbers to me make preliminary sense. I would do everything on the low end, certainly 8,000. I wouldn't spend more than that for sure until I see what.
No, we can't.
Yeah.
We're still young. We can't.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, even if you could, I wouldn't recommend doing the 12,000 right away because I don't hear enough difference to merit doing that bigger amount. But I would go out there with the intention of I'm going to seize this opportunity, not only to make money, but to get my name out there. So, we're talking about, you might even have somebody go through the crowd. I mean, do they expect people to come to the food truck itself to order, or
Yes.
could you go through the crowd with one of those little trays, like they do get your beer here, chip here, and just throw the bag of chips
get
out to
beer
people.
Here.
Yeah,
beer,
exactly.
Cheese,
Exactly.
I don't
real
know.
cheap.
See, that's a good question. That's a very good question.
Because that would help
I
your
don't know
sales
if
because
they
you're
would
going
let
to
us do
them
that.
rather than them coming to you.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, that's a good idea.
You could do candy bars, just keep them in a cooler so they stay.
Yeah.
It doesn't melt.
Gets hot out there.
Exactly. You could do a lot of things that wouldn't cost you a lot that would be more appropriate to a baseball game.
It's a good
The idea
idea.
is to bring as
Yeah.
much money as you can.
Right. Cast a wide net, as it
Exactly.
were.
Exactly. And if you're doing something different than the other two food trucks, that's just going to set you apart, and people are going to remember
Yeah.
you. They'll just remember the barbecue guy, but they'll remember yours by your exact name.
Yeah. That's a good idea. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I have those every once in a while.
Well, that's pretty cool. Well, thank you. I'm going to steal your idea.
That'll work. All right, we need to go ahead and wrap this up. My wife's reminding me I got stuff I got to do. Got more calls to do. But yeah, I would run some more of those numbers. But I think
Yeah, we're going to have another meeting with questions and
yeah,
see how it all kind of filters out.
absolutely. The way it sounds worth it. But I understand your trepidation over that amount of money. To answer your question about the 20%, that's not an uncommon fee. It's actually on the low side, and that's probably relative to the number of people that it's relative to the
Wow.
number of people they're pulling in. You go to some big events like race events that are just one time a year. 40% is common, and people
Holy
freak out
cow.
about that. And what you do is you make up for it in your pricing. You just move your prices up because people know they're going to be paying more.
Never
Anyway.
thought about that. Well, there you go. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. It's been awesome talking to you again. All right, I got to go. You have an awesome
Thank you,
day.
sir. Have a great day, Bill. Again, thank you so much. Anytime you want me, I'm always available.
Sounds good. You have a great day.
See you, boss.
All right, bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. If you're finding all the information helpful to your food truck business, please become a monthly supporter of the podcast. Just hit the support button or follow the link in the description. Every little bit does help keep us going. Join our Facebook group. It's called Food Truck Training. We have a whole bunch of awesome members at all different levels, from brand new beginners to decades-old veterans. They've all got your back when it comes to helping you with your food truck. And again, thank you for listening. Come back tomorrow because I got plenty more to say when it comes to helping you and your food truck business grow.